So welcome to the class of 2021 Capstone presentations for the Gossett Fellows Program. For those who know me, my name is Tim Bryson. For those who don't know me, my name is still Tim Bryson. And I have the pleasure and honor to serve as the Program Director for Student Athlete Career Development. I'm here, of course, at the University of Maryland. As part of my portfolio, I have the honor of leading the Gossett Fellows Program alongside Risa Lovelace and Megan Berezny. We're excited as this is the second year of the presentations. For those who attended last year, y'all saw the great work that the class of 2020 cohort put together. But the class of 2021 has took the baton and has really elevated what this program could look like and should be moving forward. And so we're super excited to share more about their experience, but also the presentations they put together for tonight as well. But before we go any further, I want to allow our Director of Athletics, Damon Evans, to share a few remarks before we get started.
Hey, thanks, Tim. And first and foremost, good evening, everyone. It's good to see everyone. I am looking forward to these presentations, to learning a lot tonight. I want to thank Tim and Risa for their efforts and their work with this program. The Gossett Fellows Program is extremely important to what we do and to what you do each and every day. It's always exciting because this is about development from not only the student athlete perspective, but also as it relates to your career, preparing you for life beyond athletics, which is so vitally important. But this would not be possible without a dear friend. It's interesting. Sometimes I don't know how to describe him because he wears so many hats within our university system, from being a member of the Board of Regents, being a trustee, being just a supporter, a donor, but most importantly, just a friend and a great human being, someone that I've grown extremely close to since my time here. I'll tell you guys, I can't think of a time where I'm making a big decision that I don't talk to him for his wisdom and guidance. He means a lot to me. He means a lot to this university. And it's because of individuals such as him and his late wife, Mary, that we are able to be in this position and to have this type of program at the University of Maryland. So Barry Gossett, I want to thank you for all that you do, all that you will continue to do. And thanks for believing in our student athletes and supporting our student athletes to this degree, because you've shown what is most important by you and Mary underwriting this program. So I simply say thank you and kudos to you, my friend. To the rest of you, everyone on this call, I don't get to see you all the time. I see you out on the fields of play, whether it's the fields, the courts, the track, the pitch, what have you. That is a great arena. Those arenas are great arenas in which to watch you. This arena tonight is just as important as those arenas. Just as those arenas will prepare you for life, this program prepares you even more. So with that being said, I simply say thanks for all you do and that you've done to represent our institution. And I look forward to hearing the presentations tonight. To all of our student athlete development staff, our coaches, and all the individuals, the administration that support our student athletes, a big thanks to you as well. So Tim, Risa, I'll turn it back over to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Damon. So with that, I'm going to introduce tonight's presentation. And so I know some of y'all may be like myself and are visual learners, and so I'm going to upload the agenda to the chat as well. But tonight's presentation really focuses on the future of student athlete development. Last year's presentations were focused on student athlete traditions and student athlete experience. But given recent changes, of course, with COVID-19 implications, the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement, the internationalization of higher education, we thought it'd be extremely appropriate and important for our students to have a voice in co-constructing what the future of not just Maryland May looks like, but the future of college athletics from a student athlete development standpoint looks like as well, given that we set the tone, right? We lead the way. And so tonight's presentations are gonna have students talking about international student athlete experience, right? Community engagement in college sport, as well as the first year experience and mentorship, given that we're totally remodeling and reforming what student athlete development should look like and be at our institution. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our first presenter, who will be Daryl Morcell, who will be discussing the first year experience as well as mentorship at Maryland. So Daryl, whenever you're ready, feel free to share your screen and get started.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Ooh, I just exited. Sorry. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I will be talking about, just Tim said, opening year, specifically related to TERP 101 stuff. So TERP 101 is already a program implemented here at the university. It was created in 2014, and its goal was to help incoming student athletes adjust to the university setting. Student feedback has been, it has been a waste of time. That meeting topics are similar to the ones they hear during University 100. In relation to me through my experiences, it's typically during times when you're in season, and it's in the afternoon, typically after practice, after long days. So it is often, difficult and I guess time consuming and straining on the body. And its focus is to talk about the transition into college as a student athlete. But it has to be something done in order for it to be productive for all students. So I have implemented a new program called either Terps Talks or Tiny Terps. And it is a program to help incoming freshmen adapt to college better, in which instead of just TERP 101, there will also be a big sibling component. So I'm sorry, let me go back. So initially there's an online component in the summer. So students are acclimated to the lifestyle of being a student athlete before they even step foot on campus throughout the year. And it will also be once a month throughout the school year. So it would be something that's ongoing and helping their overall experience throughout the year. So it would be strictly an online component in the summer, and it will require each team to do a course once a month in which players bond and discuss TERP 101 topics with incoming freshmen. This will help with their experience as a college athlete, as also create relationships with the teams and their future teammates. And this connection that they can create will allow them, to exchange numbers and become sources for one another. This will also help the transition be much more smoother, in my opinion, because you're talking to someone who has firsthand experience and is a reliable resource because they already did what you did. And it also saved time, kind of what I talked about at the beginning of my presentation. It saved the times after late practices, it saved times late at night, stuff like that. It's objective. Still the same guidelines as TERP 101. So it will teach essential life skills and assist with the transition to the university and collegiate athletics. In particular, the transition from high school to college. Over the summer and throughout the year, you will still learn all the key components of TERP 101 while you're building connection with future teammates and hopefully lifelong friends here at the university. Its curriculum, it's year-long. So it is something that freshmen will have as a resource throughout the entire year. It will be something that's constant on their mind, and it like I said, it helps. I think relationships evolve over time, and just with individuals already in college, if they have like a year-long relationship with individuals that's not there, I think that relationship can get better over time. So it will be a year-long. The topics are all the same, and the athletes will facilitate the conversation through casual conversation. So once a month, each team will have a student athlete or multiple student athletes, however, they feel is best. And they will facilitate conversation to the individuals in Turk 101. So the conversation is casual. So it can start off, just being common team conversation. It can start off being Turk 101 topics, but it's all about those incoming individuals having a comfortability with the university and the individuals that they're going to be around. It's strictly online. So I guess, teams have to schedule specific times that's best suited to their schedule and best suited to the individuals in Turk 101, because it's all online. So the curriculum, the schedule, how it will be, facilitated and discussed will be based on each sport for certain. So for example, if basketball is in season during December, they might be talking about a different topic than another sport because they're out of season or in season. Like, as long as all topics get touched, I understand individuals have, different scheduling based on sports. So it's fine. It's not no straight. And and the curriculum is also related to many of my peers. And me personally, I was not a fan of Turk 101, the current curriculum. So I feel like this change is something that peers of mine are looking for. And me in particular, in my experience, I did not enjoy Turk 101. So in particular, the SAAC would likely be involved. This is the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. And their job is to, enhance the total experience for student athletes. Team leaders and captains will be responsible, for facilitating meetings and helping the organization. Individuals such as Tim and current staff at the University of Maryland will also, play their role similar to what they do with Turk 101. It's still like the same sort of guidelines as Turk 101. It's just facilitated in a different manner. The budget would be reasonable. It would be no budget. It would just really take individuals' time. As long as, the individuals in Turk 101 have access to an iPad or a computer, they'll be able to, facilitate. They'll be able to, join these meetings, participate in this, and also complete the online class. The only possible budget problem would be the distribution of, computers or iPads if these individuals don't have it. As far as marketing, so hold on. So marketing, so as I have right here in a picture, we talk about One Maryland. This overall Gossett Fellows relates to One Maryland. And I feel like this program exemplifies this entire motto. And One Maryland is about being united, the word one, being unified as an entire community. And through this creation of relationships before individuals get here, I feel like that connection will improve and just build on Maryland as one as a whole. Social media could be a means for, connecting with one another, for these individuals in this program to connect with one another. And these relationships will spread general knowledge. So individuals at Maryland, could just spread general, not like, hey, such and such is here on Baltimore Avenue. Certain apartments is here. Like, it's building a connection that's more than just the Turk 101 or the tiny church or Turks talk. It's kind of building a big brother and building a relationship with someone you could trust. So the facility, space, and time, and like I said, it would be strictly online. Zoom, typically afternoon. This would take place for individuals the summer prior to their freshman fall. The planning, for different individuals such as the SAAC, the student athletes, that's team captains, and the heads of planning this could possibly meet upstairs in the study hall, possibly meet somewhere on campus. And then just to implement the bonding portion of TERP 101, I think it's an option, to bring all these individuals who completed TERP 101 into the dining hall in Xfinity, to meet one another, and also continue that one Maryland motto and one Maryland mindset by having them meet each other and build relationships with one another through that way as well. And last, I we talked about the sustainability. First off, with the budget, and with the world, moving tech savvy, it should definitely have some longevity. And it could be a possible change to the function after COVID. So if individuals feel like they rather have it in person rather than over Zoom, that can be easily changed. And, just find a certain time where individuals can meet. I feel like it's definitely favorable to students, and it will likely improve participation and attendance, just because it's just more in a time in which they will be able to, participate and be more in the mindset to participate and join the program. As far as sustainability, also, I will personally advocate for this, and look for investments from donors, investment from people that's interested in the program. And like I said, I'm long-term committed to this university, as well as this program if it get implemented. But the main focus of this, it was for me to just focus on the importance of building connections, and looking towards the future. That's it.
No, awesome. Thank you so much, Dara, for your presentation. And I know in between, we could just use the reaction button as an applause, the love, the thumbs up, as we continue to move throughout the presentations. At the very end, we'll have a Q&A with all of the Gossett Fellows that anyone can ask any question to any group and or any individual. So to keep us moving forward, we'll next have the pre-health TERPs presentation with Hunter, Nadia, and Katie.
Can everybody see this and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so hi everyone, and I hope you're all having a good night. A special thank you to Tim, Risa, Damon, Mr. and Mrs. Sherburne, and Mr. Gossett for making this happen. So this project is by myself, Hunter Baxter, Katie May, and also Nadia Hackett. So about us, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves as well, but I guess a little bit about myself is I am a senior kinesiology student in the School of Public Health. I was on the men's wrestling team. My current position in pre-health TERPs is the director of external operations, which role is to handle information coming into and out of the club. And then next year, I will be attending Thiel College starting July 1st to pursue my master in physician assistant studies.
Hi, everyone. My name's Nadia Hackett, and I'm a senior public health science major, and I'm on the women's track and field team. My position in pre-health TERPs is I served as the director of clinical opportunities. So my role was just connecting students with clinical opportunities. And currently, I'm in the process of applying to medical school this year.
Hi everyone, I'm Katie May. I'm a senior public health science major from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm on the women's lacrosse team here, and I served as the director of programming this year. So my responsibilities included the organization of our monthly events.
So just a little bit about the Pre-Health Terp student organization. Our overall project is going to be on this organization and how it was revived this past fall. We're going to be discussing our journey throughout this year and some improvements to be made for the next school year to come. So the organization itself was something that was actually started by a current med student and past women's soccer player, Darby Moore. And this was something that kind of just slowly died off that we decided it would be a great idea to bring back this year. So with Tim's help, along with Katie and Nadia, we were able to make it happen. As it currently sits, we have about 30 members signed up. So throughout this presentation, we're going to be talking about a variety of different things from stakeholders to sustainability, facility space, and Gossett Fellows impact. So one of the lessons from the Gossett Fellows program that we learned was to create mission and vision statements. That being said, we created some for our organization, of course. So that way, those who were interested in joining knew what we were all about and what we stood for. So our mission was, as you can read, to provide excellent opportunity, knowledge, and resources. But to dig a little deeper, opportunity to prepare themselves for the future, for their future academic and professional careers, knowledge to take with them and provide to others in terms of how to progress in their pursuit of their future. And then finally, resources that they'll be able to utilize every single day, including the pre-health advising office, the HPAL office, academic center connections to different graduate schools, and connections with the Maryland Made staff. Our vision was to build each member a set of skills that they may be able to utilize in various ways in order to be prepared for their future health-related occupation. Each member is different in their own manner, and it's our responsibility and vision to help each member in their own way to be successful. Overall, our organization had many purposes. We sought to provide an educational experience that provided chances for self-improvement, gave resources to be more involved in student organizations, both in athletics and out of athletics, involved in campus life, community service, and clinical opportunities. We try to do all of this in one place. And a main point I want to emphasize is we tried to make it a safe space, especially for underclassmen to come and be able to ask questions to build for their future. Because not a lot of people I know, especially starting out, younger, feel they are in a comfortable position to ask questions. And we wanted to make sure this was a safe space for them. So a little bit about the meetings. Last year, our meetings obviously were held all online via Zoom. So all 7 of our meetings thus far were on Zoom due to COVID, of course. But it didn't affect us. We were able to effectively move forward with that. And our plan for next year would be to be fully in person, which it sounds like will be able to happen. But if anything were to go a different direction, we now know that we can do it all on Zoom if need be. So moving forward, we also have 2 other executive board members who obviously are stakeholders as well in this organization. And this includes Libby May, who's Katie's sister actually, and Emily Sterling, who are both on women's lacrosse. Their positions are the Director of Internal Operations and Director of Alumni Relations, respectively. So next, quickly, we'll just go through what the different positions do. So the Director of Internal Operations, which is currently Libby May, will be Vice President next year as it stands now. And you can see her responsibilities are to handle in-house activities, take notes at meetings, and update the drive. Emily is the Director of Alumni Relations, and she's our bridge to the alumni through the M Club. And then the Director of Clinical Opportunities is Nadia, which will be clinical service and opportunities next year. And that's to handle outside of meeting opportunities for members to receive possible job, intern, and shadow opportunities. The Director of Programming is Katie. She handles outside of meeting activities, such as opportunities on campus, community service, as well as in-house operations as well, with creating and managing PowerPoints. Then my job is Director of External Operations, which will be President next year. And that's to just handle promotional events, oversee other outside of meeting events, and then be a main point of contact for the organization. Future stakeholders are obviously Libby and Emily, as well as anybody else that will be on the executive board next year, which is all subject to change as we see fit. But currently, these are the positions that we see that will be filled during the interview process this year. Our co-advisors are Ali Bull and Megan Rogers. So they kind of help with all of our meetings, facilitating, just they oversee meetings and help to brand our organization outside of the meetings as well. Of course, another stakeholder in our organization is none other than the man himself, Mr. Tim Bryson, as well as the rest of the Maryland Made staff. And this truly, honestly, would not have been possible without their constant support and guidance. No matter what they say, they helped us immensely. And he helps oversee everything we do. We're very thankful for him. And then finally, the community stakeholders. We and everyone in the club are going to go out and do amazing things, not only in the UMD athletic community, at UMD as a whole, but to local healthcare providers in the area, PG County, local Maryland, to grad programs across the country, and ultimately the entire country and world, depending on where these people in this club end up and head in their future.
Thanks so much, Hunter. Now we're going to transition into talking about what we actually did this year in our meetings. So on this slide, we have listed each of the topics that we covered in our meetings this year. The curriculum for the year was determined in early September prior to our first meeting. We had a pretty good sense of what we wanted to cover and where each topic best fit within the calendar year. As listed, the first meeting was a general interest meeting where we hope to gather all student athletes pursuing health professions. We got to know one another a bit more, then we outlined our goals for the year. In October, we brought in our first guest speaker, Nick Celadon, the Assistant Director of the Health Professions Advising Office on campus. He gave us an overview of the HPAL services and fielded questions from students in the group. In November, we focused on standardized testing and prerequisite courses, including the content and how to study for each test. We also brought in women's soccer alum, former Gossett fellow, and current University of Maryland med student Darby Moore to speak on her MCAT experience. In December, we were joined by anesthesiologist and my dad, Dr. Chris May. He shared his experiences throughout medical school and beyond, in order for us to better understand what these careers may really look like in the future. In February, Tim Bryson gave us a presentation on creating professional school lists. He highlighted the importance of networking with local health professionals and representatives at our schools of interest. In this meeting, we split into breakout rooms by profession in order to get our questions answered and share experiences between those along similar career paths. In March, we covered clinical opportunities with the help of 3 guest speakers from the Maryland community. Our Big Ten fellow, Megan, helped us understand how to access our Maryland networks. We were also happy to welcome back Darby Moore for another meeting, as well as Dr. Mike Zaro, one of our team physical therapists and assistant professor at the University of Maryland School of Medicine. Once again, we split by profession to have all of our specific questions answered. And our final meeting of the year was 2 weeks ago. We encouraged our younger members to become more involved in the Maryland community by joining clubs and participating in campus organizations. Hunter, Nadia, and I then answered questions from the underclassmen about our experiences and how we managed to get involved along our busy athletics and academic schedules. So through our experiences with our meetings this year, we've been able to adjust our topics to better suit the interests of our members. Here's just a list of the proposed schedule for next year. These meetings will serve as an outline for the next executive board, but are subject to change as they see fit. Nadia will touch on this a little bit later, but we plan to build partnerships with our local professional schools. Using these connections, we'll be able to bring in more guest speakers for our meetings. In order to reach all of the pre-health student athletes at Maryland, we largely relied on our social media this year. This was our means to recruit new members and brand our group. We used the Maryland Made Instagram and LinkedIn to post our information on upcoming meetings and events. Maryland Made is a singular platform that can be used to reach all student athletes from every sports team. So we are then able to share the Maryland Made posts on our own accounts and in our team group messages to spread the awareness of our events. This has helped us to gather new members in the first few months. Then, following our first meeting, we were able to create a GroupMe to send information directly to our members. This GroupMe currently includes 40 Maryland student athletes, which is awesome and very exciting for us. Our posts mainly consist of graphics, which we collaborate on with the journalism interns from the athletic department. We are able to inform the interns of what we want to be included, and then they send us the final product. On the right side of the screen, we included an example of the graphic that we used for our first general interest meeting. On this graphic, we included the meeting topic, the meeting time, and a link to register through Careers for Terps, and your document your attendance, and you are given the Zoom link for the meeting. As Hunter mentioned previously, all of our meetings took place over Zoom this year, but we are hoping to transition back to in-person meetings next fall. These meetings may be held in a place like Heritage Hall. This room is well known to our younger student athletes and has plenty of space for us to host guest speakers and admissions representatives. However, if available, we will be able to continue meeting via Zoom just like we did this year. So in order to develop consistency within our organization, we wanted to hold our meetings at the same time each month. We will meet once a month on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And this time slot best accounts for our busy athletics and academic schedules. With the exception of some of our science labs, we're typically finished scheduled commitments by this time of night. We will also plan to avoid breaks and finals weeks, and we will collaborate with the Maryland Made staff to plan our events around other student athlete organizations. We would like for our members to be involved in the athletic department as possible. This year, we experienced minimal conflicts with other group meetings, so we plan to do the same for next year. And finally, due to the nature of the program, we don't require much funding or budgeting at all, actually. We're a self-run program, and we use our Maryland networks to bring in our guest speakers. We are very grateful that our alumni and Maryland community members are willing to donate their time and wisdom to our group.
Thanks, Katie. Next, I'll talk about sustainability and where we hope to be in 5 to 10 years. So we hope to continue making an impact on the athletic department, and we hope to continue serving as a resource for all pre-health athletes. We hope to continue to incorporate guest speakers and alumni in our meetings and still have a core of about 30 to 50 students, which is roughly about 10% of our student athlete population of 500. And we also hope to have a solid partnership with Children's National Hospital. We actually were able to start talking with them, so we're hoping that once things transition to an in-person nature, we hope that we'll be able to strengthen this relationship. And lastly, we hope to have a partnership with admissions and graduate programs, just so student athletes are able to network face-to-face with potential grad schools. And also moving forward for opportunities for adaptations, we hope to move, like Hunter and Katie said, back into an in-person nature. We hope to continue to bring in-person guest speakers, continue the in-person activities and also breakout groups, and also have different meeting topics kind of tailored to the needs of the group at the time. And what we're hoping to get from current student athletes is a little bit of a higher attendance to all the meetings, and also participation in group discussions and breakout rooms. And also we hope to encourage athletes to continue to ask questions to the exec board and guest speakers. And when we sent out a questionnaire to the group members about feedback, Most student athletes rated that our program experience was great and very good. Most student athletes said that they were very likely to come back and recommend the program to others. When asked what their favorite part was about the program, student athletes said the guest speakers and being able to build connections with each other. And when we asked them what we could change next year, they kind of mentioned to us if we could encourage more pre-health terps to join all the meetings. And when we asked them one word to describe the program, they said beneficial, helpful, and useful. And now I'll talk about alumni contributions. So like Hunter mentioned early, Darby Moore, she really laid the foundation for this program for us. Our alumni has also served as guest speakers, and they've also helped to shape lesson plans for all of our meetings. And what Katie, Hunter, and I hope to contribute in the future is to continue to serve as a mentor to all pre-health students and also serve as a guest speaker and share our lessons plans with the next executive board. And just what we feel like we gained from Gossett Fellows is not only did it give us the tools to start a student organization, but also to run and maintain it as well. We really feel that the meetings based on self-branding, media, and social awareness really helped us to reach people and connect with student athletes here. And through the networking workshops, we were able to learn how to connect with alumni and potential employers, and that's how we were able to bring in guest speakers to our monthly meetings. And collectively, we all said that the workshop centered around developing a LinkedIn account really helped us, and also learning how to brand ourselves on social media, and also the meetings surrounding interviewing skills just were some of the meetings that we felt were very beneficial throughout the Gossett Fellows program. And just a little bit about what we'll be doing next year. Hunter, he will be starting PA school in the fall. He was able to build a successful application and get accepted. I'm currently applying to medical school. Katie, she just accepted a full-time position as a clinical research coordinator in the orthopedic surgery department at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, and she'll be applying to medical school in the 2022 cycle. And just overall, we feel like the skills that we learned through Gossett Fellows just really prepared us for a successful future. And we're just extremely grateful to you, Mr. Barry Gossett. And thank you everyone for listening to our presentation tonight.
Thank y'all, Nadia, Katie, and Hunter for the presentation. Hunter, you gotta stop using pictures of me in your presentations, man, wherever you are. As long as it wasn't a Timmy Neutron picture. But with that, I'd like to transition us forward to Julia, who'll be talking about the first year experience as well. So Julia, whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Rayson. I'm a senior on the cross country and track and field team. And today I'm going to talk to you about the Maryland Athletics Freshman and Transfer Program. So my proposal is to redesign TERP 101. A lot of past surveys have led leadership and just students that speak to the younger students to say that it's a waste of time or that they're not getting anything out of it. And it kind of has a negative connotation currently as something that people don't want to go to and have to attend. So my proposal is to focus more on athletic resources and then allow for further integration into the student athlete community, combined with an effort to get student athletes more involved with campus as a whole. So my recommendation is the Gossett Transition Program. So all student athletes will attend this program along with University 100 or their comparable campus one, which includes things like major specific. Scholars has one, University 100 or Honors has one. And so any University 100 basic curriculum that allows the students to integrate into campus as a normal student will then be supplemented by the Gossett Transition Program. So this will have 6 classes, all focused on different aspects of the student athlete experience. In addition, there'll be 14 ICA staff that will act as main points of contacts for about 10 students. And these 10 students will become a unit and kind of get to socialize, because that's another piece of feedback that students really hope for in the TERP 101 experience that they felt they didn't get. And these points of contacts will be required to contact every student athlete 2 times a semester, just as another point of check-in, other than coaches and upperclassmen. So the goal of the course has several learning outcomes. It's to identify athletic resources related to education path and personal interests, identify effective resources for academic and athletic success, examine assumptions about diversity, inclusion, and individual differences, and meet peers on other teams to learn about ways to get more involved within athletics. So this is the sample syllabus. As you can see right now, there are no assignments, but in the future, if the leadership of every class will have the opportunity to add these assignments beforehand. So the class topics include Welcome to Athletics, Health, which will include nutrition and the mental health team, getting involved with campus, diversity and inclusion, career development, and community building. And in addition, since there was a lot of feedback about hopes of building more of a community within athletics, a 7th meeting can be added to the fall semester to allow for an extra community building aspect to the coursework. So this is a potential breakdown of a syllabus. The idea would be that whichever group of the conversation is about that day would guide the discussion and guide the class. And so this is just a brief outline, but the activities could include things like a cooking class with nutrition or sports psych doing an activity. And obviously it would be up to the group that is in charge of that day to kind of figure out how to best integrate student athletes to understand and also want to continue to work with that team. So this budget is very similar to TERP 101. All of the costs would be the activities that the stakeholders choose. So it can be done like very cheaply when activities include just printing paper or things of that nature, or like some classes could be a little bit more expensive. And then next year, with academics being located in the Gossett football house, this program will be located in the Gossett football meeting room. Yeah, thank you. And let me know if you have any questions.
No, thank you so much, Julia, for that presentation as well. So looking back at the last 4 presentations, they've really been focused on our career readiness and our leadership education pillars. Our 3rd pillar for Maryland Made is identity development. So the next several presentations will center and focus on identity development and a plethora of different aspects. And so with that, we will turn it over to Taylor Wilson, who will take over to talk about social justice programming.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taylor Wilson. I'm a senior softball player and kinesiology major here at the University of Maryland, and I'm very excited tonight to share my 2021 Legacy Project proposal. And so my proposal is really motivated by the events that took place this summer and my identity as a Black woman and how I navigated those experiences and related to them, not only as an athlete, but as a human being. And so what we saw in the middle of a pandemic and really in the absence of a collegiate athletic season were global and national protests surrounding the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many others. And so that really moved me in a way that I felt was necessary to create a program for student athletes here at Maryland. And so what more than anything inspired me during this time were the actions of athletes, specifically athletes in college, professional athletes like LeBron James, Megan Rapinoe, and Natasha Cloud. I know a lot of athletes during this time may have not been competing, but a lot of those who were took the time to use their platform to advocate for social justice. Whether it was giving up their season or starting a voting campaign, as LeBron James did, what you saw was an outpouring of support for the movement that was occurring and is still occurring now. And so looking at these actions and understanding my own personal frustrations, I reached out to Tim and Risa and I said that I'm ready to do something. You know, I'm done being mad and tired and sad and all of those emotions I experienced. And so with that, I was very able and fortunate to participate in the VOTERP initiative with fellow student athletes, Julia Ryson and Hope Liu from soccer. And looking at the advocacy and the activism of professional athletes and other collegiate athletes around the country, participating in VOTERP allowed me to understand that there's more than one way to participate in activism. There's more than one way to do, and there's more than one way that you can involve and engage your community in creating tangible and actionable change. And so with the VOTERP initiative, we were responsible for educating student athletes and staff on the importance of voting, how to register, where you could vote, and what it means to be, engaged civically. And something I'm really proud of was the ability to turn the Xfinity Center into a polling location for early and general voting in Maryland. We also had a drop box. As you can see, there's some student athletes posing for a picture with a drop box in front of Xfinity. And so before I present my project, I want to show a brief video from The Atlantic that speaks to the importance and the history of athlete activism.
Oftentimes, sports has been the leader when it comes to social change, when it comes to societal change. What sports often does is it provides a spotlight to issues that are being discussed and started often hidden away without the media coverage. When athletes become involved, it becomes hard to ignore the local social. Because sports gives us as close to a meritocracy as we can think of in society, and often can be important in terms of changing how we in society view one another. And this
And so with that, I would like to introduce, the Student Athlete Social Justice Initiative in collaboration with the University of Maryland chapter of the NAACP, which formalized a partnership with the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics this year. I believe this program would provide an opportunity for tangible presentation of this partnership and collaboration as the chapter continues to expand its programming to advocate, inform, and assist the university community with not only dialogue, but action. And I think it's especially important to educate our student athletes first and foremost, because as we've seen, not only in that video, but in our current events and in society, athletes are change agents, athletes drive society. We have a special place in our heart for athletes and athletics, and we look to them for not only entertainment, but for what they do to move our society forward. And so I think educating the few in order to move the many is a powerful way to continue growing our university environment as a whole. And so the Student Athlete Social Justice Initiative would be a 4-week virtual program that I'll explain a little later, but this is the mission and vision statement. And the vision is to create a generation of culturally competent athletes, student athlete leaders committed to equity and justice for all. So as I mentioned, the program is a 4-week asynchronous virtual learning module, and abundance of caution for COVID-19, but also understanding the time demands of student athletes. I just thought that this would be the best way to present the material. It would be facilitated by the Maryland chapter of the NAACP in conjunction with Maryland Made staff. It would have weekly checkpoint assignments focused on reflection, not only of the topics in the module materials, but also for personal development and professional development, as you'll see. And it involves an interactive culminating event in which participants can share their findings throughout the modules, the course, and understand better research questions that they may have at the beginning. And so the participation and application process for this program would look as such: about 20 student athletes, ideally 5 from each each year, each class. And I think that's especially important when you look at the varying perspectives of seniors versus freshmen, transfers versus students who have been here all 4 years. I think it would add a level of diversity that is sometimes limited through Maryland Made programming just by the nature of the program. So interested student athletes would apply online. They would be notified of their acceptance via email, and the programming would begin about the first week of February. And the student athletes would only be able to participate in the program once to make room for more student athletes, whereas some programming you can participate multiple times, whether it be internship or Leadership Academy or SAC. You can, maybe not the Leadership Academy, but there are certain programmings that you can go through multiple times. So the learning outcomes for this program are to enhance the knowledge of all participants, to generate open, honest, and direct dialogue, and to better, in an effort to build cross-cultural bridges within the student athlete population and to equip participants with the skills and verbiage necessary to engage in tangible next steps. So essentially, this is sort of a crash course, a one-on-one into athlete activism and social justice advocacy. It is by no means meant to be comprehensive or all-encompassing of the many facets of what it looks like to be an advocate for social justice in any area. And so now I'd like to go through a weekly breakdown of each week and the modules. So week 1 would be synchronous. There would be an introductory meeting into the course where student athletes would introduce themselves, staff would introduce themselves. There would be a going over of course expectations. And the first topic would be defining activism and social justice. And each module has its own learning outcomes. And so for this one, the goal is really to define key terms and create a benchmark to later look on at the 4th week and see where there's been room. Additionally, there'll be a short discussion prompt, which is specifically focused on athlete activism and social justice, but more specifically allows participants to sort of gain that personal development and professional development that they can reflect on later by going over these reflections and potentially look at if this question comes up in an interview or if they're asked to write a personal statement for graduate school or any of the many things that I've had to do. I feel like all of these questions are geared toward adding to that as well. Week 2, there's no synchronous meeting. However, the topic is the history of athlete activism, and the goals are to identify leadership styles, identify strengths and traits, and the reflection is what athletes inspire me to create change, what traits make me a strong leader, and how can I use my gifts to engage others in an effort to create sustainable change. So again, that goes back to that personal development and really understanding your strengths as a leader and what it looks like to engage others for your cause. Excuse me, again, week 3, no synchronous meeting. And this topic is identifying your cause. And so it'll look at storytelling and identity, as well as personal experience and motivations. And in order to move others with your story and personal experiences, how do you relate to what you're passionate about, and what does that do for others in terms of engaging them? And so again, the reflection is, what am I passionate about? What personal experiences contribute to my desire to create change in this area? And how can I share my story in a way with others that motivates them? And that's something we've done in Gossett Fellows, where we've looked at our personal mission and vision. And so this is just a way to reframe that as it relates to maybe a greater cause. And lastly, the 4th week of the program would be another synchronous module where there would be a live review of program experiences, student, athlete, and staff feedback. And then the topic would be taking action. So taking everything that we've learned throughout the 4 weeks and presenting it in a way that says, this is what I'll do next. As I mentioned, it's not necessarily a course designed like this one where we create a project, but we want to know what you plan to do moving forward, whether it be something specific to social activism and justice, or whether it be something you do for something smaller that you're also passionate about. There's no reflection or discussion prompt, just a final presentation of findings. And the budget for this program, would use on-campus resources. Usually the NAACP chapter at Maryland or the larger organization, as well as the University of Maryland's Office of Diversity and Inclusion, provides educational resources for free. The use of virtual learning modules would be cost effective, whether that be a personal electronic device or the devices in Xfinity, which I believe will now be in Gossett. I think this is an effective model for student athletes, given, again, their time constraints, as well as the effects of the pandemic. And there would not be more than 2 in-person meetings. So that first and last meeting would be in person or synchronous, And then the only additional cost would come from potential guest speakers, or if they were in person, food or other things that may be associated with traditional student athlete development programming. Marketing and branding would come from Teamworks, the weekly newsletter, Twitter, Instagram, digital and paper flyers around athletic facilities, and of course, word of mouth, whether that be from alumni of the program or student athletes who are just interested in it. I think that's a very powerful medium for athletes, specifically in my experience, more so than maybe things that are published, just what you hear going on in the locker room or what your other teammates are engaged in. I think word of mouth is a very powerful marketing and branding strategy amongst student athletes at Maryland anyway, that may sometimes be left out. And I believe this program could easily become a signature facet of athletics partnership with the NAACP as it seeks to educate student athletes and is a tangible representation, again, like I said, of that bond between social justice, athletes, and activism. And I believe student athlete feedback will likely result in further engagement with Maryland-made programming. As I mentioned, this is open to all 4 years. So this may be a freshman's introduction in addition to TERP 101 or their introductory course, giving them a little more experience before they want to jump into SAC or Gossett Fellows or something like that. And so I think it creates another lane for engagement with Maryland-made programming, as well as partnerships that Athletic has, again, with the NAACP and other formalized partnerships. So that is all I have. Thank you. And I'll be sure to answer any questions you may have at the end.
No, awesome work, Taylor. Awesome work on the presentation. Definitely look forward to the Q&A afterwards. And Grace and Brooke are ready to go, so let's get it popping. Grace and Brooke.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Grace Griffin. I'm a senior on the women's lacrosse team and a kinesiology major.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brooke DeBurdine. I'm a senior on the field hockey team and a supply chain management major in the business school. So I will get us started. We are so excited to share this with you tonight, as we have put a ton of work into it and know we can make a lasting impact, and appreciate Gossett and especially Barry for giving us the platform to be sharing this proposal with you. Without further ado, we will get started. So our presentation is on community engagement, also known as community service and service learning, etc. Throughout the presentation, we will explain why we specifically went with community engagement. But our purpose in this presentation is to redefine what community engagement looks like at Maryland Athletics. To start out, we want to share with you our current situation of community engagement at Maryland. Breaking it down, we have 3 main stakeholders: Share the Shell, the 4 partnerships, and Maryland Made. As you can see, based on our graphic here, community engagement is very segmented currently. I was able to see this firsthand with being co-director of the Share the Shell committee, which is a student-led organization that gets some assistance from the administration, but is mainly driven by the SAC exec board. The 4 partnerships are driven by the administration and is led by the staff within Maryland Athletics. And the Maryland Made team ends up being a middleman between the student athletes and the administration for community engagement. After working firsthand with the Maryland Made team and interviewing them for this project, it is evident the role of taking on community engagement is a large task that the Maryland Made team is having trouble balancing with their other commitments. Overall, this leads to a lack of centrality and a break in the line of communication that can't fulfill all separate entities' goals. With our proposal, we are going to solve this issue. Once we had an understanding for how our current situation is, we broke our research process into 2 different parts. So this is the first part. With this part of the research, we followed this quote: "The best way to get where you want to go is to ask someone who's already there for directions." With this in mind, we knew it was important to see how other Big Ten schools were set up and knew this was essential to our argument for how we should restructure community engagement at Maryland. We got to meet with Indiana, Northwestern, and Iowa, and the 3 positions that lead their community engagement in their respective areas. As you can see at the top here, these are the titles that we met with from each school and the names of each person that we got to meet with. We pulled key aspects with interviewing these 3 schools, and we looked at how we could restructure our community engagement. And I'm going to go through a couple here. So Northwestern was the only school that had a central hub with 1 role. So they had a full-time position, which we are going to go for later on in the presentation. Indiana, Northwestern, and Iowa had this position connected with their SAC student athletes. Northwestern and Iowa emphasized how important it is to have the community engagement position partner with their DEI position, which we currently now have at Maryland. Iowa was the only school that tracked hours, and Northwestern and Iowa used Helper platform, which, as many of you know, we have used in the past years. and Northwestern and Iowa had their community engagement position platform work with teams at the beginning of the year to set goals. So overall, Northwestern has a great program and has had a full-time position for 13 years. This would solve the problem of our break-in line of communication and make a central hub. We also want to point out that Indiana did have a full-time position for their community engagement for years, but they were unfortunately just furloughed during COVID. And they did emphasize when interviewing them that they are struggling right now to engage in the community. We gathered great advice from meeting with these individuals, as well as connections that we will certainly use in the future.
Taking the information we gained from other schools, we also wanted to gain a better understanding of the current situation by hearing from staff members regarding their thoughts and needs. We spoke to Tim, Risa, and Megan on the Maryland Made team to hear their thoughts. They all emphasized the importance and need of a central hub and improving the structure of Share the Shell. They also explained that having a centralized hub will then guide student athlete initiatives and increase student athlete involvement. We were able to speak to Dr. Sue and Carrie Blankenship, who are both involved with the athletic department's new partnerships. This includes the Jordan McNair Foundation, NAACP, Team Impact, and the Special Olympics. They explained the partnerships are organized by a committee of administrators in which each member works with a specific partnership. They also explain how these partnerships are not exclusive or permanent, rather they reflect the values of the university at this given time. Finally, we spoke with Gloria and Jose, who are part of the Office of Community Engagement here on campus, or OCE. First and foremost, they voiced how they will always be a resource to us and are excited for the opportunity to work with us. And they also explained the struggles they have faced over the past years here and at other universities to create the institutionalization of community engagement within athletics. Part of this difficulty stems from the complexity of NAACP rules and how they relate to what athletes can and can't do in terms of engaging with the community. Gloria even explained that over the course of her 24 years within this department, she still doesn't feel like she's cracked the code to increase community engagement within athletics. Based on our research, we were able to formulate 4 different goals in terms of community engagement here at Maryland. Goal 1, to create a central line of communication and collaboration between the local community, student athletes, the athletic department administrators, and OCE. Goal 2, to empower and guide student athletics to create and lead community engagement activities that come from their passion. Goal 3, effectively utilize service learning techniques to create a culture of engagement with the local community. And goal 4, partner with DEI and other external affairs, including PR, to increase engagement.
Based on all this, we need to catch up to other Big Ten schools and lead the way for the Big Ten Conference and have a full-time position. We have shown through our research how impactful it can specifically be within Maryland based on our siloed efforts that are currently happening. The position in the middle here will be titled Community Engagement Athletics Coordinator and will be a full-time position. As you can see in the chart, they will report to Gloria from the Office of Community Engagement, who is the director, as well as to Risa from the Maryland Made team. The position will work alongside Cynthia Edmonds, who is our Senior Associate Athletic Director for DEI, as well as work with the Maryland Made team and other UMD external affairs. They will directly be the point person and responsible for the 4 UMD partnerships, SAC Share the Shell, and be an Office of Community Engagement team member. So why are we titling this position Community Engagement instead of Community Service or Service Learning? Community engagement is the process of working collaboratively with and through groups of people affiliated by geographic proximity, special interest, or similar situation to address issues affecting the well-being of those people. After talking with the Office of Community Engagement, they explained that they are shifting away from community service because of the negative feelings it brings, and it being seen as a chore instead of an opportunity to learn. One quote they said that stood out to us was, "In order for student athletes to gain support from our community, we need to support and give back. We are not doing this enough with our current setup." Our community engagement will also be mixed with service learning, where student athletes will engage with the community, then reflect and discuss and gain a deeper understanding and sense of purpose for their involvement.
So we've demonstrated the need for this position, but as Brooke said, it's also important to demonstrate the need for this to be a full-time employee. When Brooke and I began working on this job proposal, we both agreed upon the success of Tim Bryson's position, working both with the Career Center and the athletic department. We've both personally experienced the positive impact he can have on student athletes. In fact, Tim's position is supported by the Gossetts, and without it, we would not have the structure and means to present this tonight in the hopes of improving student athletes' futures. Therefore, we want to mimic Tim's position structure. Furthermore, after examining the history of community engagement with Caitlin Fisher's taking an almost volunteer role with Share the Shell, it is clear that it can be too much to handle. Also, currently, the partnership committee is made up of full-time employees with other duties, and we want to ensure the proper amount of time and attention can be given to these partnerships to make the most of them. By having one full-time employee whose sole role is community engagement, greater organization and execution can occur. This will help limit the segmentation between teams with community initiatives and the university as a whole. Community engagement is an amazing opportunity and experience for student athletes, which will help achieve Maryland Made's mission through identity development, career readiness, and leadership education. Also, the success of full-time community engagement employees are seen in 2 out of the 3 Big Ten schools that we spoke to, with a third already looking to create one. We believe the full-time position is necessary to take on the complexity and multiple dimensions of community engagement so all parties involved can benefit. Taking all this into consideration, the job proposal for a community engagement athletic coordinator is as follows. The mission: to create a mutually collaborative partnerships to serve the community in which we live in an impactful and meaningful way while fulfilling the Office of Community Engagement and Maryland Made initiatives. While its vision is that we will unite the University of Maryland Athletics Department with the whole local community and facilitate student athlete service, learning, career readiness, and global advocacy.
Next part of the job proposal is the education and skills we will look for in a candidate. We got a ton of valuable advice on what qualities to look for in a candidate from the Office of Community Engagement team. So they will first have a bachelor's degree, and the preferred majors are communication or public health. They will have professional written, verbal, communication, and interpersonal skills, strong organizational and time management skills, professional presentation skills, and previous experience in intercollegiate athletics is preferred. The responsibilities is the last section of the job proposal we will be sharing tonight. We broke this up into percentages so we can see where the individual will spend most of their time. So 20% of their time will be involved in developing, designing, and facilitated service learning opportunities, programs, and special events. 20% they will act as the primary individual for UMD Athletics community partnerships. 15% will be understanding UMD Athletics financial structure and preparing financial forecast statements for the programs that they run. 15% they will conduct a database and document stakeholder information. Another 15% will involve managing and assisting and helping redefine what Share the Shell is with the student athletes. And then the last 15%, they will attend all Maryland Made team and OCE meetings weekly. So although the role will be fluid, this gives you a good overview for how it will operate.
So what's next? Well, moving forward, we'd hope that this position can be created and filled as soon as possible, but a proper and detailed hiring process is necessary. It's great news that the hiring freeze from COVID of the university was lifted on April 2nd. From here, we hope to get approval of the position from the university by creating a case which represents the OCE, Maryland Made, SAC, and the partnership committee support. A search committee should then be created which reflects the vision and mission of these organizations and is diversified. Once candidates are selected, they will go through the interview process with both OCE and Maryland Made, since they will be a part of both teams. Through this process, we hope to find an amazing candidate to hire who can make an immediate impact to help reach our goals and improve community engagement and establish it as part of our athletic department's culture. Reflecting back on this entire community engagement project and the Gossett Fellowship as a whole, 3 central themes stuck out to Brooke and I. First, empowerment. We gained the confidence to go out and meet with others and take on the challenge of this project to make real lasting changes. And I think without all that we've learned through the fellowship, that wouldn't have been possible. Legacy. Leaving your legacy at the university as student athletes, but also in the greater community. I think I can speak for Brooke as well by saying how grateful we both are for all we've learned through this project and how amazing it feels to know that we both are leaving our mark and improving the experience of future Terps. And finally, connection. Through connecting with other Big Ten schools and our conversations with the various departments here at the university, we learned first, that people are very willing to help and support us. All you have to do is ask. And second, the power of connecting and collaborating with others and the community can not only have a positive impact on yourself and your development, but also on others. We hope to instill these ideas in all current and future student athletes. And that is the conclusion of our presentation. Thank you all so much for listening and being here, and we'll be happy to answer questions later.
No, thank y'all so much, Brooke and Grace. So with that, we'll turn it over to Laura, who will conclude our presentations as Cheyenne is still taking an exam, being the student she is. So turn it over to Laura, and then open it up for Q&A.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me and see this? Right. Awesome. So thank you so much for attending this event. I'm really excited to talk to you about this project, World Wild Terps. But first, a little bit more about me. My name is Laura Van Restel, or Van Restel in French. I'm from France, and I'm a senior supply chain management major. I'm also part of the women's golf team. So this project, World Wild Terps, was introduced by a women's golf alumni, Ludovica Farina, who's been working on this a few years ago. The goal of this project was to create a safe place for international students to meet people and understand US regulations a little bit more. So this semester, I worked on how the program would look like in the future. So here's the outline of what we'll be talking about tonight. World Wild Terps, the plan of action for 2021-2022, and the alignment with One Maryland Made in the Gossett Syllabus program. So first of all, why World Wild Terps is pretty hard to pronounce. We're counting 43 international students this year, speaking English as a birth language or not. Most of us don't actually, and coming from plenty of different countries. We have a whole different culture from the American one, which we're really grateful to learn more about, but is a lot different from us. And there's international students in almost every team in the roster. On the slide, you can see me the first day of my freshman year of school. On the right, I was wearing jeans. I quickly learned that I would not be wearing those anymore for 4 years and turned to athletic wear on a daily basis. And on the left photo is me and the another French girl, Charlotte, in the women's golf team, close to the dorms. Okay. So here's the purpose of World Wild Terps: to be a resource for international students, help them understanding the US culture and habits, learn more about regulations like visa, taxes, social security numbers, also meet fellow international students because we all share similarities in our differences, and be a safe place to learn and help each other out. Okay, so now I'll be talking about the plan of action for next year. I sent out a survey to most international student athletes who are currently enrolled, and here are the topics that they would be potentially interested in. So as you can see, there's plenty different options. So we adapted the program depending on what they would want to see next year. There's three main categories: the orientation, the specific meetings, and the student athlete dinners. So first of all, the orientation would be for freshmen and transfers, sometimes in the first 2 weeks of school, depending on what athletic schedules. It would be during the morning and the lunch. The idea would be from 10 to 12 to go over the amazing international student handbook that was put up by the athletic department and Maryland Made team last year, which is awesome, and go over the main thing that they would need to know at the moment as incoming freshmen. So, I mean, it can seem like pretty easy or kind of ridiculous, but how to circulate on campus, buses, the metro, how would that work, a phone plan, opening a bank account, and who are the main resources. So that would be what would go on in the morning, and then lunchtime, just to have everyone meet each other and create connections. Then we have the International Student Athlete Dinner, which would be welcome to every international student, and obviously Americans as well, if they're willing to learn more about us and our cultures. It would be in person, hopefully, same as the orientation. And it would be just one time at the beginning of each semester to have everyone meet each other, bond. And a great thing would be to have different themes based on different countries. We could have Italian, Mexican foods, and partner up with local restaurants in the community. Also, gather information on who would be attending which meeting and what people would be interested in. Then we have the specific meetings that could be online or in person, depending on what student athletes would like. There's the What is American Football, which would be the first event. It would include, it would be welcome to other international students and have more people meeting each other and kind of try to learn the rules. I feel like as a senior, I kind of understand now how that works, but I'm still a little lost. So that would be good to start it off as a freshman. Then you would have the financial literacy session on credit cards, credit scores. I still don't really understand that. Savings accounts and budgeting, which I feel like we would all need to learn as new adults. And I-20 sign-in days. For those who don't know, we have to sign this paper twice a year to allow us to come back in the States. I forgot mine my freshman year, so I'm glad we will set up a reminder for people in the future. Then career development, OPT, employment session. We might need 2 of those, one in November, one in March, to learn more about what opportunities are available to us in the future and how to be able to either stay on the US rule and not be illegal, whatever. Then we have the taxes literacy program in March. We all have to go through those, even us, which as international students, which I didn't know until sophomore year. So hopefully we can help future international students learn about those. And in April, an alumni panel to gather some experience and learn about our previous peers. To make this group successful, we would need the future SAC International Student Athlete Facilitator, who would be responsible to be the connection between the athletic department and the international students. And hopefully an athletic department facilitator, and ISSS, Established Contacts, which is the international student people on campus that help us with regulations and what we have to do to be legal in the States. And another idea that we had with Lulu, who used to be the creator of Worldwide Terps, was to have a tutor for international student athletes. We used to have one my freshman year, and it was super helpful. Mostly to help us with English and grammar, but it was also a really safe place to meet other student athletes and bond over our English struggles. I have a couple slides on budget, which would pretty much only be for the student athlete dinner. So we have this Mexican theme district taco for 40 people, $460, or the Italian theme with a pizza, $210, a little bit of a cheaper option for next year. We can do both. And I will finish off with how this program would align with One Maryland and Maryland Made. It would promote diversity of backgrounds, opinions, and experiences, encourage diversity and inclusion, be a learning experience for members and facilitators, and encourage communication and collaboration, which are all values of Maryland Made and One Maryland. Okay. And as of Gossett Fellows, I was really grateful to be part of this program and excited to learn more about who I was and where I wanted to go, which I definitely worked on with Gossett Fellows, but the biggest part of it was to learn what impact I wanted to make on the community. And I was lucky as a freshman to be surrounded by several other international teammates, who really helped me go through my first year and be a little bit less unaware of life and learn about how things were happening in the US. So, but I don't think every international student athlete is that as lucky as I was. So I'm really excited for this program to be able to welcome international students and help them feel comfortable. I hope by that designing that program, incoming freshmen and current international student athletes will feel that their experience and future matter. I'm really grateful for Gossett Fellows and Maryland Made for giving me the opportunity to develop a program that will hopefully make an impact and help many. And moving forward, I will be obviously available as an alumni to help out with the program and see where that goes. And last slide is just a photo of my really international teams. 8 different countries, 10 people, definitely a lot of different cultural experiences, but it's just been a blast for 4 years. So really grateful for the opportunity to study abroad and be half French, half American now. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Laura, for the presentation. And so with that, it concludes our presentations for tonight, and I want to open up the floor for the next 15 or so minutes for Q&A. Again, we've heard a lot about career readiness, leadership education, identity development across the spectrum as it relates to identity, academic year, as well as industry and career interests. And so I know Darby had an initial question to kick us off, but after that, feel free to unmute and or put your question in the chat or send it directly to me, and I can help to facilitate this conversation. But we'll go ahead and start with Darby.
Thank you, Tim. My question that I had that can be for Hunter or Nadia or anyone who feels comfortable asking is, what do you think is the most impactful skill you have learned in your time in the Gossett Fellows program? And then how do you plan to use it in your career upon graduating?
I could go first. I want to say probably the greatest skill I learned was networking. I'm typically a shy and reserved person, but just through Gossett Fellows, it's just revealed to me how important it is to network, how important it is to reach out to people, to set up informational interviews. And just by learning those skills, I've been able to be successful in securing internships. I've met with a lot of people in the field that I hope to go into. So just networking is probably one of the biggest skills that I learned through Gossett that I hope to continue to use for the rest of my life.
I can go right off that. Yeah, I agree. Like networking is probably one of the biggest things. With that, I'd also like to add Tim and Risa, they always told me to stick to the process. Process works. We did it. It took a long time, but there's a lot of steps, but we did it and it worked. And with that, sorry, with that, I want to say my biggest meeting that like touched me was the self-branding meeting. Just like who you are and who you want to be. Like there is a process and you can network to a bunch of people, but just like staying true to who you are and being unique and being yourself, like that's going to help you get far in life because we're all good people on this call and we can do great things. So that one really touched me.
I have a question. So first off, congratulations everybody and good job. Also, now that you've finished your presentations, what advice do you have for those of us that are getting ready to do that next year?
I can go. I would say start when Tim emails you to start or like asks you about the presentation topic. I feel like we still had enough.
I'm wait till Brooke becomes unfrozen to finish her
Connections.
statement.
Can you guys hear me?
Now go ahead, Brooke.
Oh, now I can. Else take it away. Can you guys still hear me?
No, you're good. I'm gonna pass it to somebody else until your internet gets fixed. I would definitely want to hear your response to this question.
I can take over for Brooke because I know we talked about this with our project. Like she said, starting early, trust the process. Tim gives you the resources for a reason, and he gives them to you when he does for a reason. And I think, like we touched on in our presentation, not being afraid to ask people for questions, reach out, find people's email addresses, email them, explain to them your project or what you're looking to do. And it's amazing collaborating with others and hearing their stories and hearing their advice. And yeah, I think just reaching out, getting to know people, connecting with others, and you'll have a lot of questions answered, some that you didn't even know that you had.
I have a question for Laura, my teammate. She's the reason why I joined the program, because she talked about it so much and she enjoyed it. So my question is, what did you learn about yourself through the program?
Thanks, Ellie, for the question. So I think, I would say that the main thing is I feel more comfortable about speaking in front of people. And I'm like, okay, they understood what I'm saying. I have an accent, but it's fine. And that definitely helped me for the presentation. It's such a safe place, or just people that want to help you grow and be a better person. So I think it helped me feel more comfortable and be less afraid to ask questions. And the main thing was to reflect on what I was doing in Maryland and where I wanted to go in the future. So I think it really helped me define my core values, my mission, and where I was going from now on after athletics. Yeah.
And just to clarify, for those who don't know, Laura, where are you going post-grad?
I am going to grad school back home in France. I'm doing a master's in management, and hopefully I will, wait, I forgot the word. I will do a specialization in sustainability my second year, yeah.
Oh, congratulations again, my friend. I saw Risa raise her hand, so we'll go Risa and then Riley.
First, I want to say congratulations to all that presented tonight. Your presentations were phenomenal, and glad to have y'all a part of this new family that you're joining after this presentation. But my question is to Taylor Wilson. I don't see you on my screen, but I think you're still here. It's a two-parter. So the first part is, what support is needed to make marginalized student athletes feel like they can be their full self within our department? And then the second one is, based off of the curriculum that you presented, do you feel like coaches and administrators should also attend that program?
Hi, I'm still here. That's a really good two-part question. I think in order for student athletes, specifically marginalized student athletes, to feel represented, there has to be more education put in place that puts people in a space where they have tough conversations. I think college sports specifically creates a really unique environment where you have people who are from different states and different countries, and we all come together to play a sport. But I think there should also be a space for us to learn about each other's backgrounds and who we are as people and how that makes us who we are. And so I think in order for people to feel comfortable, you have to understand where other people are coming from, and then you can talk on those topics. To the second part of your question, I do think coaches would benefit from this sort of programming, just because, like I said, they're recruiting athletes, but they may not necessarily understand the athletes that they're recruiting, not having lived certain experiences. And so I think this course would be able to help them understand better the whole person and not just who they're getting in practice and in games.
Thank you.
No more to Riley.
I also had a few questions. One of them was for Taylor. I was just wondering, I think you mentioned that each year the program would include like 20 people. So I was wondering like why you chose to limit it to 20 people, or if you would be open to doing like more than that if there's more people interested, or if you like specifically chose like a smaller group on purpose.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of having a smaller group. I think someone mentioned it earlier, but the idea of having smaller sessions and creating that space for sort of intimate conversation about sometimes challenging topics can make people less intimidated to speak on things that they might not want to share in a big group. And I also think having people go through the program one time and one time only create sort of an experience that can't be replicated. And so every year the cohort is going to be different. And so every year there's going to be a different set of experiences. 20 is definitely just a loose number. So if it went up to 25, I think that would be okay as well. But I like the idea of keeping a smaller program.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I wonder if you could run it multiple times a semester too, just because it's a topic that I feel like a lot of people could get educated better on. So almost you don't want to take that opportunity away from people, but I also recognize how a smaller group would make for better conversation. I think everyone more comfortable as well. That was just one thing I thought about. And then also I had a question for the first year experience. I guess it could go to Daryl or Julia. I was just wondering if TERPS 101 is required, or not TERPS 101, the University 100, because I know my freshman year we did TERP 101, but I don't think I did University 100. I don't know if that's changed year to year, or I was just wondering what the technical requirements of that are.
I can take that. So UNIV 100 isn't required for all students, but there are definitely subsections of campus. I know if you're a public health student, you're required to take the public health version. And same with some of the special living and learning programs and stuff like that. But I think they introduce a lot of really useful information that they hope that all students take it, but they don't want to make it a mandatory 1 credit requirement.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering. And then one other thing I thought of, yeah, everyone's presentations were so great. They really got me thinking about the different topics. I don't know what the budget would look like, but as far as I remember for TERPS 101, always being at night and trying to fit dinner before or after. So I don't know if some type of dinner at TERP 101 would encourage student athletes to come and be excited to go about it, and one less thing to fit into your schedule. But I recognize that there's a budget aspect to that as well, but just a suggestion.
Okay, I have a question more so for the pre-health terps. So I was kind of wondering what the most important stepping stones to kickstart this environment was, because I noticed you guys said it was about 40 to 50 student athletes involved in this. I'm currently pre-law, but I only know one other girl that's an athlete that's pre-law at the moment. So I was just curious about how that would work.
I can take this. This was honestly kind of something we were hoping and expecting. We were talking that hopefully other majors would and different paths would get involved as well. So I guess the best thing I can say is obviously get in contact with Maryland Made staff. So Risa, Tim, they can guide you in that direction. In terms of us personally, Katie and Nadia and I would try to build a team if you know any other law students within athletics. It just makes things a whole lot easier to spread out the work and work amongst each other. And as much as the 5 of us had roles, so including Libby and Emily as well, we kind of all split up the work this year. So it was really nice because we were just getting things off the ground again. But with that, we started with a huge spreadsheet. We started by getting advisors for the club because you can't move forward without that. Sponsors, I'm sorry. The Maryland Made would be your advisors. And then from there, we kind of started building this huge spreadsheet of what we wanted to accomplish in our meetings. And then we kind of set up meeting times based on the athletics schedule and when we thought would be great times to do it. And then from there, it's just a lot of social media advertising, which again could be sent out through something like TERPS 101. And they can get that advertised for you to younger people and by word of mouth, as Taylor Wilson was saying, and it kind of just builds itself and they can post it on their social media and hopefully things will get kickstarted. For you from there, I don't know if Nadia or Libby or Katie or Emily have anything else to say.
That was good, thank you.
Got one question in the chat for either Julia and or Daryl. But how does the new program apply for transfer student athletes? And if so, like how would it work given the unique topics?
So I, in my presentation, didn't really talk on this. I was supposed to miss this for class last Tuesday, but I got to present today. But in my written proposal, I talk a lot about transfer student athletes. And the goal with transfer student athletes is they wouldn't have to take the UNIV 100 equivalent because they hopefully got it at their first institution, but they still would hopefully join the student athlete program. And they would be in a group of 10 or 20 students that would be all transfer students to kind of create a transfer community, since that was a lot of the feedback. So they would get the resources along with the social component that wouldn't put them with just freshmen. Because if there's a junior transfer, the last thing they probably want to do is just hang out with all the underclassmen.
Awesome. What additional questions do we have for our fellows? Thank you, students, for leading that Q&A.
Do any of the groups have something that they wish they could have looked into more or spent more time on, that possibly a future someone in the next cohort could expand upon?
I guess I can say something. I think Brooke kind of talked about this earlier. I think she said something about volunteering first, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think I would try to be as involved as I could in whatever you can handle. Obviously, not everything, but as involved as you can in it. Try to take leadership roles, and then just I don't know, take advantage. Like Brooke said, but it's easy to sit in the back and be like, yeah, I can just get away with not knowing my mission that well. But if you volunteer to go first, you'll get critiqued, but your mission and vision statement will probably be the best ones. So as scary and risky as it may seem, I would try to do that personally if I could go back.
I would also add that if there's something that you're passionate about, pursue something along those lines. Like for us, it was easy to create this project because we are so passionate about helping the other pre-health student athletes. So like Madison mentioned earlier, if there's other pre-law students or something, other people who are along the same career as you, I think it's awesome to use those people as resources and just connect with each other. And it sort of happens naturally from there as your passions coincide.
I could certainly attest to that as well. Just make sure you do something you like. It's like a year-long project. You're working on it the whole year. I feel like you get the most out of it if you're doing something that you like, because you'll put more energy into it. You feel me? You'll have that extra motivation because it's something you enjoy. So just make sure, because it's a lot of options. It's a lot of different things that you can touch on. But make sure it's something that you're passionate about and it's something that you enjoy doing or learning about.
Tim, this is Damon. I just have a comment. And I want to just share with the group what I'm feeling right now. And that's a great sense of pride. As I sit here and had the opportunity to listen to your presentations, and I say this with all candor, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about you as individuals. I learned a lot about some of the programs that we put in place and how we can look at things and really to see them through your eyes. So being the athletic director here at the University of Maryland, that pride that I have right now is swelling up in me. But also I look forward to following up with some of you on your projects and about how, obviously some presented things, all of you presented things that involve the administration, that involve Maryland Made, and that we have to continue the conversations. Just like when we talk about the social justice initiatives that are taking place right now, you can either have a moment or you can have a movement. And I think we all want to have a movement. And I'll say the same thing for what we're discussing here with all this programming, these presentations, is this has got to continue to be a movement. It doesn't just stop here tonight. So I'm going to encourage those of you who need to follow up with the administration. There was one about community engagement. You got to follow up with this. We don't always stay on top of everything. I'm willing to admit that. So make sure you do your due diligence in following up. But I'll tell you this, I will be following up with some of you, and I'm just going to simply say thank you and a job well done.
No, I appreciate that, Damon. Well said. So with that, I want to turn it over to Mr. Gossett to share a few remarks. I know he likes to sit in the background and be quiet, but definitely want to open up the floor and give you the mic as well.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks and congratulations to each and every one of you, especially with the students. I think I've won the lottery, to tell you the truth, just listening to the remarks that each and every one of you have made. It's just so heartwarming. I mean, I felt like, when you put this program together and you invested some money in it, if you're going to look at the return, I mean, it's over the top. I just can't express how grateful I am for, first of all, Risa and Tim for guiding this program, and the support from Damon. If Damon said he's going to follow up, I want to follow up too. I mean, one of the things that I wish I could sit down with each and every one of you and just talk for an hour or so, because it's just so interesting to hear the things that you have to say. And, comparing my freshman year before your parents were born in 1958, when you said you had University 101, our University 101, I remember it because we had to wear a beanie and we had a sign around us that said who we were and what our major was. And that we met on the tennis courts. I think they were up by Cole at the time, but in any event, the whole thing was Dr. Elkins got up and said, everybody look around because the person next to you probably is not going to be here next year. And that was University 101 to me. So because it was an open enrollment. So the people that were there certainly were not qualified the same way that each and every one of you as students are. But, and just listening to some of the things that you've said, as Damon said, you learned, man, I really learned a lot here. And some of the things that, because I've been on the regions for so long, and some of the things that come back here, and I say, my gosh, the red tape and, when and I know Gloria Blackwell, when she said she couldn't crack the code, my God, there's so much red tape around stuff around here. And I think if those of you in the business arena learn, that you can do away with some bureaucracy and get to the meat of the matter and get things done. I mean, that's just wonderful. And the best thing about this whole program, though, is you're all student athletes and you all work with teammates. And then I'm seeing that this year want to reach out and work with other student athletes who are not necessarily on your team, because you all have this bond of athletes. And I've always said one of the reasons why I want to invest in student athletes, because the same thing when I hired people, I always look to see if they played sports, not necessarily Division I athletics, but did they play on some competitive level, that they learned to work with teammates. Because when you learn to work with teammates, that's the transferable skill that you all will take with you no matter what. And the one thing when Daryl started off and said, the Terp 101 was a waste of time, if people aren't interested in it, then part of the program is to make it fun or make it interesting. Because if you don't have fun in what you're doing, and I'm not talking about necessarily fun and games fun, but fun and enjoying and look forward to what you're going to do, there's no sense doing it. I mean, if you dread going to work, then get another job or get a different job. I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, because if you're not having fun and not enjoying it, you're really not gonna be a success. And each and every one of you are really a success. And I like to see, you know, we talked about the academic arena and the athletic arena, and you put those two together. I mean, that is a real token for success, no question about it. And some of the things I note, I don't want to pick on anybody, so to speak, but I want to say, Nadia said she was a little shy. Well, I tell you, with that smile you have, Nadia, you don't have to worry about anything. And you have, quote, come out of your shell. I believe that. And Taylor, you talked about social justice, and I'm glad you said, you know, you're tired of being tired and frustrated, and you got involved and engaged. And that's what we all have to do. Because, you know, I think, you know, having grown up actually when segregation was really the word, so to speak, and it isn't now, which I'm so grateful for. But, you know, we have to learn, because I've never walked in your shoes and you've never walked in my shoes. But what Taylor's talking about, we can sit down and talk about it and have these hard conversations where we can develop respect for each other. And that's going to be a key to social justice, I think, where everybody, because my father always used to tell me, you measure somebody from their neck up and, you know, go from there. And of course, you know, I've read a lot of things. And one of the things that Dr. King always said, you know, when are we going to not judge a person by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character? People always forget that second line, which is really more important than the first line to me. So, you know, I think the content of your character, and every one of you have great character here. And, you know, we talked about the hiring process. If we could hire somebody to do this, I mean, look, Damon and I know that the hiring process at the University of Maryland just sucks. And, you know, we got so many loops to go through and hoops and everything else. You know, find the best person and put them in the job and let them go. But that's enough of my editorializing. Again, I think I hit the lottery, as I said, from just listening to all the folks here. And as I'm looking up, I see Katie May. And I have to tell you, Katie, and I know now, I think it's important that we have two sisters here, but I met your mother last year and she just really, you know, bragged about you. And I can understand why now, not having really met you other than on Zoom here. So it's great to meet you all. As I say, I wish I could really be in person and give you all a real hug, but I give you a virtual hug and a thank you for the job you're doing. And, you know, just keep up all the good work. I mean, you've got such potential here, and it makes me feel so good to know that I've just been a little bit of this. You are the real product of this environment and the real product of this program. And I thank you all so much for doing it. And Tim and Risa and Damon and Dr. Sue and everybody else that's involved in this thing. Cheryl, just, you know, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gossett, Mr. President. Literally 2 years ago, we presented this idea to you, and to see two classes go through this program is just humbling and phenomenal. But with that, I want to turn it over to Risa. We have a special presentation to share before we close out our evening.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy yourself on this wonderful day. And I just wanted to, you know, say thank you for the opportunity to be in Gossett Fellows. I learned so much, and it has meant so much to me over these past 2 years. And these relationships and the stuff I learned will definitely be beneficial for me long term. Happy birthday to you, and stay blessed.
Hey, Mr. Gossett, I just want to wish you a big happy birthday. I'm so grateful and thankful to be involved in the Gossett Fellows program, and I've learned so much about job opportunities and career readiness under the guidance of Tim and Razor. I look forward to learning more in person next semester, hopefully, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. My name is Taylor Wilson. I'm a senior on the softball team, and I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. And thank you so much for everything you do for the student athletes here at Maryland, including the Gossett Fellows program, which has really allowed me to explore my career interests and grow as a person and a professional. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Mr. Gossett, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I hope you're doing well and enjoying all the nice weather. I just want to thank you for everything you've done with the Gossett Fellows program. It has influenced me tremendously. I can't wait to be a part of it for next year and continue to learn and grow to become a better person to better prepare me for life after sport. Happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Barry. I hope you're doing well, and I wanted to thank you for the Gossett Fellows program. I've really learned so much from it, but I think my biggest takeaway would be my increase in confidence, whether that be speaking in front of a group or just holding a conversation with a professional. It's really helped me a lot, and I'm very grateful for it. So thank you, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Barry. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm so grateful to have been able to grow in my confidence and leadership skills throughout this past year through the Gossett Fellows program.
Happy birthday! Here are the Maryland Field Hockey team on their way to the Big Ten tournament. I'm feeling very fortunate and excited for the opportunity to present my proposal to you tonight. Because of the opportunities you provided to us, I felt extremely prepared and applying to internships this year.
Thank you for your dedication to Maryland student athletes, and we hope you have a great day.
Go Terps!
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. Thank you so much for everything you do for Maryland athletics. My personal favorite part of the Gossett Fellows program is developing the mission and vision statement for our future.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. I hope you're doing well. I'm so thankful for the opportunities and the guidance that the Gossett Fellows program has provided me. My mentors and my advisors have given me invaluable networking and connection advice, and I've also gotten closer with student athletes that I wouldn't necessarily get to interact with on campus.
Happy birthday, Barry. Thank you for everything you've done for the student athletes here at the University of Maryland. Because of you, student athletes like myself have had an opportunity to get better and better ourselves for our future careers through the Gossett Fellow program. So thank you and have a great birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. Thank you for all the opportunities that you've given us and letting us connect with you.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. I hope you have a great day. I would just like to say that the Gossett Fellows has been a great experience for me. It has allowed me to further explore my career and allowed me to gain many invaluable skills I'll continue to use for my college career and into my future. So once again, have a great day and thank you.
Hey Mr. Gossett, I want to wish you a happy birthday and I hope you're doing well. I also wanted to take this time to thank you for all the opportunities you give us as student athletes. I'm so grateful to be a part of the Gossett Fellows program, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to make progress towards my future goals.
Happy birthday, Barry. I hope you have a wonderful day full of love and birthday wishes. Also, thank you very much for everything you have done for us. Go Terps.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. I hope you have a fantastic day and get to celebrate with all of your loved ones. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you do for all UMD student athletes, but especially all of us within the Gossett Fellows program. This past year was my first year within the program, and I have learned so much already, and that wouldn't be possible without you. I cannot wait for my next year as a Gossett Fellow and to continue to develop skills and learn things that will help me progress through my life post-graduation. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Happy birthday, Barry!
Thank you so much for all that you've done for us through the Gossett Fellows program. I'm so grateful to be a part of this program and for all the resources it's given me to pursue my goals.
And I'm thankful for it for giving me the confidence to pursue my passion. Have an amazing day. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Mr. Gossett. Thank you for everything that you do for Maryland athletics. I hope you have a great day.
Mr. Gossett, happy birthday. I'm Laura Van Rispail. I'm part of the Gossett Fellows and I'm a player in the women's golf team. I hope you enjoy, and we would like to thank you so much for everything we're doing for Redesign Athletics and our program. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Tim, and whoever put all that together. That was wonderful. Thank you all so much. Very, very, very touching. I appreciate it.
No, most definitely, and again, happy birthday as well. So with that, Mr. Gossett, one thing you said, March 2021, I'll never forget it, that this program was designed to help student athletes quicken their reaction time when they graduate, right? And I hope that you continue to see that the work that they're currently doing and continue to do as alums will continue to quicken their reaction time, not just for themselves, but for the students who will be matriculating into Maryland athletics, as well also those who are currently competing right now. So I want to say thank you again for your support, your blessing, your gift, and allowing us to just lead this program with your blessing. So thank you. So with that, thank you so much for everyone for jumping on the call. Gossett Fellows Class of 2021, congrats, y'all graduated from the program. You'll probably have 2 more emails from me. And then I get to see y'all hopefully sometime soon, graduation. But again, thank y'all so much. Coaches, thank y'all so much. Senior staff, thank y'all so much for jumping on. As always, until then, peace out.
Thank you. Great job, you guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.